All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on the altcoins and the crypto market. All right, guys, so in this video, I'm going to cover the total 3 chart and the altcoins that have been pumping, like Ethereum, like Solana, Link, some of these XRP. XRP hasn't been as bullish, but I think it's getting ready to be. And I just want to cover some of the things that happened here and why we are seeing this push up that we are seeing in altcoins. First of all, in the last video, I talked about Bitcoin dominance and how I covered this last week, by the way, and how Bitcoin dominance since May of 2023. Let me zoom out to the 2-day chart real quick. Since May of 2023, we have been chopping within an ascending channel on Bitcoin dominance, just continuing to chop to the upside. Bitcoin dominance getting higher and higher and higher. Now, last week, I made a video when we were about right where my cursor is in this general area here. And I did have an arrow here saying Bitcoin dominance could come higher. I expect higher on Bitcoin dominance because Bitcoin dominance has been trading very well in this channel. We did have one deviation of the channel back in December, towards the end of December, when altcoins had that big rally at the end of December while Bitcoin was crashing. And since then, we re-entered the channel, found support on the channel, pumped to the top of the channel, chopped around the midline, and we were holding the midline for a couple weeks here, and then we started pushing to the upside. So I was expecting that push to continue until we hit the top of the channel. Well, look at this. We hit the top of the channel to the dollar, to the dominance point, to the percentage point, whatever. And then we saw that big drop in Bitcoin dominance all the way to the midline. We are seeing a small bounce so far from the midline, but what I think could happen here, now that we have broken some local market structure bearishly, like if we zoom now in onto the 4-hour chart, you can see that we finally have broken some lows here, broken market structure bearishly. I do think it's possible that Bitcoin dominance could continue to drop from here lower, or we could see the midline hold. We could bounce, come up to the golden pocket for a lower high, and then start to drop to the bottom of the channel, or even lower. In that case, we would expect altcoins to pump against Bitcoin. Now, that could mean that Bitcoin's dumping really hard and the altcoins are kind of holding up better, or altcoins are, rallying a little bit better than Bitcoin if Bitcoin's kind of grinding sideways. But yes, Bitcoin dominance hit that key resistance of that pitchfork, or not pitchfork, channel that we've been watching. Really key resistance, and we are seeing that dump right to the midline. Now, I'm going to go real quick into the total 3 chart, and I want to talk about the total 3 chart and why we should have been expecting altcoins to rally. And I covered this when it happened. So first of all, we have been in this ascending pitchfork, bullish pitchfork, for a long time now, and it's been really a key bullish pitchfork for the entire bull market since March of 2024, since altcoins made highs in March of 2024. This pitchfork has been really, really trending well on the total 3. Now, the total 3 market cap excludes Ethereum and Bitcoin, but it's every other altcoin in the market. And you can see as we were coming up to the top of the pitchfork back in December, I was warning you guys can go back on my channel and watch the videos around December 6th to December 11th, 12th. I was saying I was taking profits on alts up here because we were at the top of a major resistance, and that we could see altcoins drop to the midline, or even like worst case scenario, we could see the total market cap drop all the way to the bottom of the pitchfork, find support at the bottom of the pitchfork and make another push. Well, guess what happened, guys? Months later, we did continue that grind down through the pitchfork, hit the bottom of the pitchfork. Now, when we hit the bottom of the pitchfork, we had very nice bull divs on the chart, lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum waves. Our money flow had bottomed out and was curving to the upside, just getting into that area where it was looking like it wanted to cross into the green, excuse me. And at the bottom, the tops and bottoms of pitchforks, especially major high time frame pitchforks like this, are often really, really key levels to hold and get strong bounces from, or reject and get strong rejections from. Or if we would have lost this level, I think altcoins could have taken an even bigger dip. But you can see on the daily chart, we came down and hit the bottom of the pitchfork just perfect. Once we hit the bottom of the pitchfork, we should have expected a bigger rally on altcoins against Bitcoin, or just a big rally on altcoins in general. And sure enough, look at this. We got that big push up now. And in this push up, it does look very much to me like an impulse, a 5-wave impulse. So you can see our wave 1 here, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and we're in our wave 5 impulse here right now. And I do think this could continue all the way to our golden pocket. Now, that golden pocket's pulled from the high to the low. And I do think that altcoins could continue to rally up to some of these areas where we do have some key resistance on the chart. Now, the way I use the total 3 market cap chart is if I'm looking at a particular coin like Solana, and Solana is at a very, very key support level. Let me actually go find that here. Okay, here we go. And Solana, let me get rid of this real quick. Solana's at a very key support level, like its own high time frame pitchfork support. This was also a monthly level at $96. And the total 3 market cap is also at its very strong support level. And we are seeing bull dips confirmed on high time frame on both coins. That is going to give me a signal that, okay, you know what? Solana could pump a lot more here. Solana could continue to make a bigger push to the upside. Now, I'm going to cover Solana in just a second because we're hitting the top of this pitchfork here. But and sure enough, guys, the altcoins have been rallying in this big impulse up. Really strong rally on many altcoins here, especially many of the big blue chip altcoins that did not have big or crashed really hard and were at bear market prices. So total 3 market cap got that bounce directly from the bottom of the pitchfork. We could even bust up, guys. Here's the crazy part. We could come up to this golden pocket, see a 3-wave rejection to backtest the pitchfork band, which you can see here. The pitchfork band was holding as resistance for quite a while here. Now, if we just hit up into this golden pocket, see a 3-wave corrective move to bounce from the band, then we could come up to the pitchfork midline, and that would also be our 786 up here. And we could see altcoins really start to rally here. So I'm actually excited. I'm waiting for this pullback here. If we do reject from the golden pocket, I will be looking around this pitchfork band area to look for swing longs on altcoins that are also at their support levels. Now, I do have to give some warning signals on the chart here on the total 3. You can see we also confirmed bear divs here. Higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves, and our money flow looks to be topping out here. So I do think that altcoins could get a pullback soon. Maybe a little bit higher to hit this golden pocket, and then we could get that bigger pullback soon. But if we bounce, if we pull back in a zigzag correction in this pullback, like a grindy type corrective structure, and we're coming into this support level being this major band, I will be looking for swing longs on many altcoins that are also at support levels. So I will keep you guys updated on this every day in the videos. And I will also keep you on which altcoins I'm looking to long. I am long on a couple altcoins right now. I did long XRP from 2078. I told you guys that already. And anyways, there's Solana. I long Solana, and I'm also short on Solana right now as well, though. So, okay, now let's go into Ethereum. Ethereum is seeing a super, super strong move, guys. But I did just short Ethereum on Saturday. And I shorted, I will tell you this, Ethereum is looking hyper bullish here, and it does look like it could be even in a double 1-2 impulse. So a 1-2, 1-2. Here's your big third wave. We might see a rejection here in a 4. Then we could come 5, 4, 5, coming up to that 2,800 key level of resistance, which is our previous all-time high range value area low. We have a weekly up there, and depending on time, we could have the top of the pitchfork even if it takes us a while in these 4 or 5s up here. But that 2,800 level, it's going to be a very, very key, 2820 in this general area is going to be a very key level. It's a daily level. It's our previous range value area low. And I do believe it was a golden pocket. Let's see here. Let's do this golden pocket. And let me put that on log scale because that's more than a 30% dump to the downside. Yeah, and our macro log golden pocket is in that area. So very, very key level of resistance on the chart around that 2,800 area, where I do think Ethereum could top out and see a much bigger correction from this area. But I do think this double 1-2 impulse is going to continue on Ethereum into this area. Okay, so if I think Ethereum's going to continue up to 2,800, why did I just short Ethereum? Well, I'll tell you, because I'm still playing hedges both ways. I'm scalping it. And as let me zoom in now. We were on the daily chart. Let me zoom in onto the hourly chart. We just in this last move up, this big impulse up that we've seen from bouncing from that SR flip level that I talked about in all the videos last week, that 1750 level, 1750-ish. You can see that we did see a big 1-2, a huge 3 here, huge three. It went all the way up to the 4.618. So usually your three can stop at the 1.618. Well, Ethereum went all the way up to the 4.618. Then we got a drawback in a wave 4. And then over the weekend, Saturday, wave 5 up into our 786 level. There was also another SFP up there, an SFP of the highs of these highs up there, key highs to look at on the charts. And so what I did say ahead of time is that I would be looking, if we hit into that 786 wick above it and then like close it like an SFP, then I would look to short it. So of course on Saturday, I just happened to be watching the charts as Ethereum was pumping up to there. We hit into that level, 25.95 pretty much, wicked above it, and then we started closing below it, and I did short at 25.91. So I am short on Ethereum from 25.91. But I also have already taken a TP1 and I took 50% out already. And I'll tell you why I took 50% out, because we came down in a very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an impulse. We ended that impulse back testing our anchored VWAP from the cycle highs from 4,100. And what I'm expecting here on Ethereum, because remember, I just talked about that bigger daily double 1-2 impulse. So what we're expecting is still more upside up to this 2,800 area. So now we could look for a bigger 3-wave corrective move, and then another push up to make a new high, and then another 3-wave corrective move, and then another push up. And that would be your 4, 5, 4, 5, pushing up into this 2,800 area. So this is why I'm expecting Ethereum to continue higher, but I did short it locally from that 786 upon seeing some weakness. By the way, we were seeing some bear divs on the chart. Like if we go zoom out to the 4-hourly charts, you can see here 4-hour bear divs. Those are 2 different humps. Now, money flow did still look strong, but as we were coming up to that 786 here, you can see money flow was topping out. So I did short that. Now, money flow looks good again here. I am still short. I took 50% of my trade out at that anchored VWAP, and my stop is at break even. So no matter what, it's a winning trade. But yeah, I do think Ethereum's going to continue higher. Now, as far as local supports, if we lose the anchored VWAP, so let me go ahead and come in on this. You can see I have a range pulled just of this upper price action after the 3rd wave impulse ended. So just of this upper price action here. And let me make sure this is pulled all the way. And look at where, if we just also do a fib pull of that last big parabolic move that we saw on Saturday, this parabolic move up that we saw on Saturday. So if we do a Fibonacci retracement pull of the lows of that move to the highs of that move, you can see that our 786 Fibonacci retrace is coming in at the point of control of that move. And that is an area where I will TP2 on the short trade. Also, if we come in here, let's make sure, let's put this on the daily. So if we turn on our daily naked points of control, I do believe there was one is a little higher. Yeah, no, we do have a daily naked point of control that was there, but it was hit. So that daily, it's not naked anymore, but it's still a point of control in confluence with the 786. And then also I will be paying attention to the daily naked point of control from Friday as well, because you can, Saturday, excuse me, from Saturday as well, because you can see it's right below our lows. If we come down one more time in that bigger ABC, and then we could continue up. So locally, if we start to bounce from this area around 24.15, 24.13, I will look for a TP there as well, a partial TP, not a full TP. But yeah, you can see on the 1-hour chart, now we are starting to, I mean, we didn't really see bear divs on the 1-hour chart, but on higher time frames, we were seeing the bear divs. Like if I go on to the 8-hour chart, no, okay, no bear divs. There was, I guess it was just that 4-hour chart. Let's see, 6-hour chart. Yeah, no real bear divs coming in on Ethereum, but locally we did have bear divs coming up into that 786 on lower time frames. So, but Ethereum overall looks bullish, guys, and I do expect still, I know the last few videos I talked about Ethereum forming a bigger accumulation range from the bottom. Well, I still think Ethereum is overall going to form a bigger accumulation range, but I think now that range, that accumulation range, is really going to be between like 1,800 and 2,800, and we're going to be chopping in here for a bit, and then we could see that real big push up to maybe 7K, 8K, 10K, depending on how if Bitcoin doesn't completely lose itself to the downside. So That is kind of, and by the way, those numbers I just threw out, 8K, 10K, those are not going to be coming for months upon months, but that is like a bull market target that I see for Ethereum. But yes, Ethereum's looking strong, and we are in that double 1-2 impulse. 1-2, 1-2. We're in the third wave, and then 4-5, 4-5, maybe up to 2,800, or maybe even up to the point of control of this range around 3,300. So that is what I'm looking at on Ethereum. Ethereum looks good. Now, if we do start to lose this upper range that I just showed you on lower time frames, I mean, it's very simple, guys. We could come down if we just do a Fibonacci pull from the lows of our two wave to the highs that we just made. You can see our golden pocket is coming in right around, and let me make sure this is not on log scale, because now that's, yeah, okay, that's exactly right. So you can see this, our golden pocket is coming in right at that pitchfork midline that we broke. Remember here, if we zoom back out to the daily chart, we bounced from the lower band. First of all, we bounced from the bottom of the pitchfork. Then we reclaimed the band, bounced from the bottom band, perfect. And now we've made it pretty much up to the upper band. So if we do see a pullback on Ethereum, a bigger pullback, like let's say that double 1-2 doesn't play out, I do expect higher to come. But if it doesn't, and we retrace from where that 786 rejection that we just had, say we're going to see the big retrace, the level of support that I would be watching to look for longs on Ethereum would be around this 2061 to 2033 level. You can see our prior highs, and it's also a support resistance flip area. It's a naked daily point of control. It's our pitchfork midline, and it's our golden pocket pull from our last big lows of this move to the highs of this move. So that is the area I'd be looking at on Ethereum to see that bigger push up, bounce. If we do crash, a bigger bounce from that area. Local, not local, intermediate area of support that I would like to long Ethereum from. So we could do that. This is going to be a golden pocket, naked daily POC, and then yes. Okay, so that is what I'm expecting on Ethereum, guys. Okay, now let's move on to Solana, because Solana's just been so great, guys. So first of all, Solana broke out of our range. You know, you can see up in this area around 152, we were finding some trouble at this value area high of this range since the Trump tweet weekend, really. And we never did come down to backtest this area that we were looking at here, this golden pocket area, into this liquidity down here. But Solana continued to push up, break out. And once we started to break out, I pulled a pitchfork for this based off of, if we actually, hold on here. Okay, this is the pitchfork that I wanted to show you guys. Let me put this back up here. Okay, this is on Coinbase. Now, this is the main chart that I use for Solana. Once again, guys, just like I showed you with the total 3 chart, we bounced from a very key pitchfork support band in confluence with a monthly. We were able to reclaim the value area low. I longed this, by the way, upon the reclaim. You guys can go watch the videos. That was at 123, and we this is the value area low of a range that goes all the way back to March of 2024. So a giant range for March of 2024. We reclaim that value area low, and once we reclaim that value area low, we can expect a move up to the point of control. Well, we got to move up to the point of control. We did see a small rejection from that point of control area, but we were able to also break above this pitchfork band, and you can see this pitchfork band was also the value area high of that range right up in here, and it was holding us for quite a while. Actually, excuse me, that's the wrong area, guys. But the pitchfork band was holding as resistance for quite a while. Once we were able to finally break above it, we flipped it to support right where my cursor is, and we busted through the point of control. Now, once we busted through the point of control, all last week, I was showing you guys a descending channel that Solana was trading in, and it was blue. If you go back and watch my videos, it was a blue descending channel. And I did tell you that this price action looked more corrective, and I do expect this to hold this for this to be a corrective move before new highs. Well, sure enough, we came back down, back tested that point of control a few times after reclaiming it. We held it overall, and then we started to impulse to the upside again. So breaking out of the corrective channel with volume to the upside, which you often see in descending channels. So now that we're breaking out and seeing an impulse, if we want to know where that impulse could stop, we can pull a pitchfork from the lows of the move to our big wave 3 highs or wave 1 highs down to those lows. And look at, sure enough, we pumped up right not only to a key liquidity grab area, the 180 SFP, we also hit the top of the pitchfork. So you can see on our 4-hour chart, hitting the top of the pitchfork, wicking just a little bit above it to hit that. And we did grab the liquidity. You can see we actually did pierce that level, grabbing that liquidity at $180 and then pushing back down. So once I saw we started to reject and lose this pitchfork, I did take a short on Solana from there, but I'm also still long on Solana from under 150. I think 151 now because I added to it. And Solana, look how bullish Solana is though, guys. We are bouncing from the pitchfork band now. Yes, we rejected twice from the top of the pitchfork, but the band is holding us. Every time we come down to this band, we are overall holding this band as support. And I do think Solana is going to work its way up to our next major resistance area. Now, let me talk about this next major resistance area on Solana because it's a big one. It's probably the biggest one on the chart. It is the macro of our big range since November or since March of 2024. It's the value area high of that range, kind of where Bitcoin's at, its value area high. It's the macro log golden pocket. So if we do a Fibonacci pull from the highs of the move to the lows of the move, and we turn on for log scale because this is more than a 30% drop. So you need to come into your settings and turn on log scale. And you can see that golden pocket is coming in right around that value area high. We also have our previous range value area low of this upper all-time high range up in that area. And yes, and a daily level up there as well. So I do think this area between, let me just get rid of this now. The area between like 192 and 200 is going to be a very, very key area on the chart for Solana, where I do think we have a high probability of pumping up to this area and then possibly seeing a bigger rejection from this area. So we'll have to see how Solana looks once it gets up there. But I am long on Solana and short on Solana at the same time. I have taken profits on both those and stops are at break even on both those. So no matter what, I'm hedged and I'm winning on Solana there. But I do expect Solana to continue higher because we keep bouncing from the pitchfork band to support. Now, maybe we're going to see just one more high being made. We have our like little distribution pattern or head and shoulders pattern. You know, you have your first high, you have your second high. And then if we come up one more time and hit the top of the pitchfork, SFPing the highs from Saturday, which are weekend highs, guys, weekend highs often don't stay intact. Then, and actually seeing a better SFP as well, then we could see that bigger dump, maybe even to the bottom of the pitchfork. I'm still looking at the local 382 and 0.5s because of Elliott wave structures, but that we'll have to see once we get up here how it looks. Solana looks pretty good overall though, guys. And I do think that we could come a little bit higher on Solana to take out the highs that were just above those 180 highs at 180.61. You can see we actually haven't grabbed that liquidity yet. So I think Solana can come up to like 182, maybe 181 point. Yeah, 181, excuse me, 181, 182. And then we could see a small pullback from there before initially coming up to 200. And because I would be looking at this, you know, we could see this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had our 5-wave impulse locally. We could be seeing an ABC, and then we could continue up to that area. So Solana's looking pretty good overall. Ooh, let me do that. Okay, and I do think Solana can continue. Now, as far as support levels go for Solana, now that we are, I do think this anchored VWAP. So this anchored VWAP right here is coming in from the all-time highs. And you can see that anchored VWAP that Ethereum just back tested and bounced from. Well, Solana hasn't come down to test it yet. So it is right around the pitchfork midline around 164. So I would be interested in looking for a scalp long at 164 if we do come down there and bounce. It would also take out our local liquidity of this like ascending channel type structure we're seeing. But in more worst case scenario, say we SFP at 181, then we could look at our golden pocket from the lows of the move. And actually, I would even pull these lows here up to the highs. And of course, those highs will change just a little bit with the new high. But you can see that 154 area would be around the bottom of the pitchfork. By the time we got there, it would be around the bottom of the pitchfork. But you can also see our prior highs are coming in right in that level. resistance, 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 resistance. So now it would be a support resistance flip area where then now it would act as support. So 154 to 153. But that's about it on Solana, guys. Solana's acting really nicely, really fresh here. Sui, not too much else to go over on Sui. I covered this with you guys last time we checked Sui, but Sui is at that macro golden pocket resistance. We're at the daily, and we're just kind of chopping around, hitting into that resistance, not really rejecting though. And I do still think Sui could come down a little bit more. Actually, I believe Sui did hit the 382 finally. Okay, yes. So let me cover this real quick. So I was expecting Sui, if we just look at the very local structure here, we're on the 2-hour chart. We were looking at this as an impulse. And remember, we longed this at 315 because it was our 382 touch from this bigger wave 4 retrace. So we were in a bigger wave 4 retrace. And then within our wave 5, we're expecting a 5-wave impulse in itself, right? So now that we bounced from the 382 and our more macro wave 4 retrace, now we can zoom in on the wave 5 impulse to the upside. This is expected to be a wave 5 impulse. And you can zoom in on that wave 5 and you can look for a sub-degree 5 count within itself. So what we look at is this. We were looking at this last week. This was a wave 1 push up. Wave 2 retraced to our golden pocket, and it was also a naked daily point of control. We bounced. Then we saw our big explosive wave 3 that continued up to hit our golden pocket. So let me go ahead and delete this range real quick. You can see we hit up into our golden pocket, got the rejection, and we fell a little bit, but we kept kind of grinding sideways, and then we made that one more high. So I would actually say our wave 3 goes all the way up into this area here, and we could still be grinding up in this wave 3, but I do expect a rejection in this general area to come down to backtest this value area high of this range we broke in a wave 4, and then see a wave 5 up. Now, there is one count where this is done. We saw this 1, 2, 3, and then we saw a triangle in a wave 4, break it down, wave 4, and then our wave 5 hit up on Saturday. And now we are about to see a bigger ABC correction to the downside. Either way, overall, Sui is looking bullish. And if we do see a pullback on Sui, you do have to be careful, because if we zoom out here onto the daily time frame, Sui is clearly finishing its 5-wave structure, a bigger one. Look at, so from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's where we longed the 382 just the last Tuesday. 5. Now your 5-way target is expected to end between the 1.236 and the 1.618. So you can see we've already hit the 1.236 at 405. We have not come up to the 1.618 yet. It's just above us. And if we SFP Saturday's highs into that 1.618, that could be it. Now, you have to be careful longing Sui now, because after seeing a bigger daily impulse finish, a daily 5-wave impulse finish on Sui, you could get a much larger pullback all the way down to your golden pocket area. So we can reanalyze that once we start. We can analyze it right now to see if just speculating that the 5 waves are done. So if we're going to speculate that the 5 waves are done, then we can come in here. Let me just get rid of some of this, guys. If we're expecting that the 5 waves are done, you can see we're at that macro golden pocket pull. So that golden pocket pull goes from all the way from the highs at 529-ish all the way down to the lows. That's your golden pocket. It's a daily level. And if we are to suspect that this 5-wave impulse is done and we're about to see a bigger retracement to the downside, then we can just pull our Fibonacci from the lows to the highs and look at where your golden pocket is coming in, pretty much at a very key level. So I would say it's a little bit above the key level, but about 243 down to 226 would be the key level. And I even have a spot buy there, because you can see we have our big point of control of our range there. We have a monthly level there. We have our golden pocket close by. We have all this area is generally the area I would be looking for. Plus, I do believe it was the point of control of our smaller daily range as well. Yes. So that is what I'm looking at on Sui. Sui looks good overall. Be aware, guys, on the daily chart, we are seeing confirmed bull divs. Higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves at the top of a possible 5-wave Elliott impulse. Now, the only question is this 5th wave in yet? Because we haven't actually hit that 1.618 at $4.34. So I do think that Sui could keep pumping a little bit higher, but once we hit that next resistance, it could be the end of the big daily impulse, where then we see a bigger multi-day correction down, a bigger correction down. Okay, that is it for SUI. Now let's go to XRP. Guys, XRP is still just chopping within this descending channel we've been talking about since December. Now, XRP, let's see, did I mess that up? Okay, there we go. Sorry, this got real messed up here, guys. Let me fix this. Okay, we have our bigger descending channel that XRP's been chopping in. And I was saying in the last video on Thursday that I do expect XRP to continue because we had flipped our value area low of this major range to support. Then we came down, bounced from a very key higher low level. I was expecting us to come up to that naked week, to the point of control at 241. And I said our next zone of resistance was that point of control up to the daily around well, this is a fresh daily that I just marked out. But we were expecting to come up to this 241 to 245 area of resistance. You can see we did come up to that area and we did see a pretty good rejection. I actually shorted the naked weekly point of control at 245.9. We had a naked weekly point of control right up in that area. Let me see if it's still on my chart or if I deleted it. Yeah, 245.43. So once we wicked above that level and then started closing below it, I shorted it. Now I'm going to delete that because it's been touched and tapped. I'm still in that short, but I took 75. Actually, no, I think I closed the short. I think I just closed it earlier today because, and I'll tell you why I think I closed it and why I think we could come higher here. Well, XRP, we did hit into that key POC at 241 and into the naked weekly POC. But we are at, as far as this local impulse goes, now there's two ways we could count this. We could see this as a 1, 2, 3. We had our pullback in a 4 and then a 5 here finishing up. And now we are about to see a bigger correction to the downside, creating that head and shoulders topping pattern, which is a real possibility that we could see. But we did not, if we look at this all as a third wave here, then, because one of the things when we came down here, we did not hit the 382 yet. And your wave 4 retracement, the most common targets for a wave 4 are between the 0.382 and the 0.5. Well, if we count this whole thing as a third wave, then you can see after rejecting, we finally came down and hit the 382, and now we're bouncing. So we could make one more high up to the value area high of that big range. That big range since December, the value area high is coming in around the top of the channel. We also have an SFP up there, and we have our macro log golden pocket up there. So I do think that area between 256 or 255.5 and like 262.5 is a really key resistance for XRP where I will be looking for shorts up in that area. We could be done now, guys. We could be done now, and we could see a bigger pullback now. So if we do see a bigger pullback now on XRP, what I would be expecting is a pullback. Let's now, if we're going to look at that, we hit the 382, we're bouncing, but it could be a head and shoulders topping formation. So you're going to pull your fib from the bottom of the impulse to the top of the impulse. And that golden pocket, you can see that golden pocket coming in at 221. We have a fresh naked weekly point of control there. That is the area where we could look for a major bounce and a possible swing long position to take up to 261, 265. I'm sorry. Yeah, 261-ish. If we look at this lower range here and we pull our volume profile of this lower range, you can see, okay, the point of control of that range is a bit lower at 213. That's another key level to be looking at if we lose 221. But 221 is my next major level of support. This level here, I believe this was marked out. Yeah, this that just don't pay attention to that. That was when I thought we were going to retrace back down to the 0.382 to the 0.5 here, but I just didn't update the chart yet. So now that we've hit the 0.382, I do think 221 is our next big level of support. We can mark that out here. So this is going to be GP/naked weekly POC. Okay. All right, and that is about it, guys, for XRP. Now let's go into Chainlink here. And Chainlink, is hitting into some key resistances. First of all, guys, I gave you this support level on Chainlink. And remember, we were in that descending channel that I was talking about on Chainlink, and the way we were grinding down here, creating that liquidity curve, I did say that we could sweep all that really quickly and see a big impulse to the upside. Go watch the videos from a week ago. You will see that. We did hit into that golden pocket, and we didn't quite hit the daily, which was at the bottom of the box, but we hit into the golden pocket. And sure enough, we're seeing that impulse up, just like mini coins. 1, 2, 3. I think this is clearly not a 4 right there. All of this is a continuation in a 3 here, 4, and now we should expect one more high in a wave 5. So Chainlink could be coming up a little bit higher up to this daily level, and it's the back test of the value area low and a naked weekly point of control. That resistance is from 17.77 to 17.95. I do think that level could reject us, or we could come just a little bit higher where we do have a weekly level, a channel midline, a point of control, and a golden pocket. And that is going to be between $18.56 and $19. So not going to go too much into Chainlink here. I'm kind of running out of time, but I do think Chainlink could come, is expected to come just a little bit higher here. I'd be looking at these 2 levels of resistance that I just marked out for you. And then if we do drop, we can just do a golden pocket pull from the low of the impulse to the high of the impulse, and we can look. But this pitchfork band right here, if I zoom out here on the 4-hour chart, that pitchfork band was acting as a resistance through all of this. So now if we come down to the pitchfork band, I will be looking for longs from the back test, because we also have some golden pocket confluence in that area. Now, if we come a little bit higher, that golden pocket would also be a little bit higher, or if we even came up to this guy, that's where it'd be real nice golden pocket confluence there with that pitchfork band. So Chainlink is seeing some 4-hour bear divs, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves. Money flows just crossing over to the green though and looks pretty strong. Okay, guys, that's it for today's video. If you got anything out of the video, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel or share it with any friends and family. Also, links to the channel sponsors and partners are in the description. BYDFI, you can get up to 15% cash back on your initial deposit, up to $8,100 in trading bonuses, futures trading bonuses based on how much you trade, how much volume. And MEXC is giving 10% cash back on your initial deposit, plus up to $20,000 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you move. So both those links are in the description. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow.